Hi, and welcome to Tennis Volley Talk with Brian Danielson. Episode 8. Today, again, what I'm going to be doing is talking to another tennis aficionado from Texas again yet. I can't get out of Texas here yet so far. But his name is Bobby Kleinecke. He is used to coach for the Texas A&M women's team. And then he, right now, from what I hear, he's the current executive director of tennis teachers in Texas. So interesting aspect of what he's done with his tennis career too. Bob, thank you for coming on my tennis podcast, Tennis Volley Talk.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I talked to a few of your cohorts that you probably within the coaching industry and everything, but I talked to Ruben Vargas, and I also talked to Ken McAllister that actually has a red clay tennis court in his backyard there, and then I got your from Paul Smith. That's where I got your name from. And he was I interviewed him, and it was a wonderful interview all the way around with everybody that I've talked to.
Yeah, those are very, very good tennis guys that you have here in Texas.
Absolutely. And pretty much pretty good weather all the way around there in Texas. So are you a Texas born guy, or did you come from another town or city when you were younger and moved to Texas, or how did that come about?
I was born in Texas, born on Galveston Island. We call it a VOI, born on the island, and both my wife and I are VOIs, and so I've been in Texas all my life. Never moved out.
Oh my gosh! Almost like when you go to someplace else, almost like a foreign country or something.
Sort of is. Yeah. Us Texans, we feel like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it goes so laid back in Texas anyway too, and stuff. I remember when I was really little, I lived in Abilene with my parents at one time. So
yes.
that was
Abilene a number of times.
Yeah, and I don't remember too much about it, but I remember it was Abilene. It was in Texas. So. So anyway, as you were growing up in your tennis career and being young and everything, about what age or did you grow up in a tennis family or sporting family that got you into sports of some kind, or what happened to get you the tennis bug in you?
Yeah, I grew up in a sports family. Obviously, my dad was he was an official in baseball, basketball, football. Did not play any tennis. None of my family played tennis except me. But it was a sports family, and I was around 10 years old. I want to say when I first started, maybe 9, something like that. And I first started, and just kind of. I grew up in an area where I could walk to the tennis courts, and so that made it very easy. And I had some friends that played, and I think that's a big key for people nowadays, or really any time, is just to have people that you can go play with, and it kind of helps you out. And I mean, literally every day we were out there. We had to go in. My mom had a rule. You had to go in from 12 to 3. You had to go inside. But other than that, we were outside.
Well, of course. And then, of course, back then, the courts, and I grew up on the courts, too, back when I was young. You grew up on the old white cement courts with the painted lines and the chain link fences on them, too.
That's right.
And they were fast courts, too. So you learned how to hit the in front of the ball before it got to you. Don't let it come back on you.
And my indoor was a basketball gym. So.
Oh, that's right. They and nowadays a lot of people just don't know that a tennis court lines are on a basketball court sometimes.
Yeah.
And you can actually see them.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, with that, I grew up, and I was a little later starter than you were, but I started, probably about 13, 14 years old is when I started and everything. But I still kind of got taken under the wing by the old guys at the court. And, you'd play everybody would be playing doubles on a Saturday. And if you didn't know anybody, you wouldn't get a court until 3 o'clock in the afternoon at all. But then somebody would quit and they'd say, hey, come on over, fill in. And so you'd fill in with doubles. And it was just a whole great time with a bunch of guys that played at the tennis courts back in the day.
Yeah. At that time, you didn't make court reservations or anything. You just showed up and sat on the bench. And literally it was an all-day affair. You'd be out there and I've never set up any practices. It was just... everybody was just there.
Everybody was. Oh, absolutely. And that was the funnest part about it too, to be able to have that being able to play through, the morning into the afternoon and late afternoon, and then go home, have your food. And where are you going to go? Out to the court. I got to go. I got to hit the ball.
Yeah, then we'd go back at night.
Yeah. We'd go
back. It was all day long.
All day long. Absolutely it was. I mean, it was kind of came to fruition with me is when my mom said, well, you're always staying around the house. You find something to do. And I found a couple of my friends. We got into tennis and that was it. And then later it was like, we never see you around. What are you doing? I'm playing tennis. That's what I'm doing. I got to go.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
And that's how that tennis bug hits you, because not only that you're learning a lifelong skill, but I'm sure with me myself, and probably you're older, a lot older than a lot of the younger. I'm 69 myself, but it was even before the fitness craze started. And the only person that was the fitness person around at that time that anybody kind of watched was the old black and white Jack LaLanne.
Yeah.
But we were way ahead in playing tennis like we did at a young age, and we're out there running. Didn't even think of it being an aerobic exercise or anything.
Right.
And
it was just the fun of playing. Yeah. And I give so much credit to the older guys that would hit with you. And I can remember out there, we'd sit out there all day long trying to win a game off of this one guy. And, finally, when you won that game, you'd be on top of the world.
Oh, absolutely. I came across so many of those guys that was so frustrating because, us young bucks come out there, we're going to beat these old guys. And boy, lo and behold, did we not know how to play the game very well.
That's right.
And they'd just dink and dank us and lob us, and it was like, oh God, they'd run us ragged, and it was amazing. And I used to play with a guy that was he had only 2 forehands. He didn't have a backhand. He used 2 forehands. Yeah, and that was frustrating as all heck.
Back then. That was very unique back then.
Oh, it was.
The first time I saw that was when I was in college, and we had a teammate that was that way.
Mm-hmm. And then as growing up and going through, were you on the high school team? Did you make the team and everything as time progressed?
I played in junior high. I played in high school. In fact, our high school was very successful. I've forgotten all the stuff now, but I want to say state champs for 13, 14 years in a row. I mean, it was a good high school program, but it was all because everybody just sat out the courts and played all day.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, yeah. And having that opportunity to play in the nicer weather year round almost, per se.
I can't ever remember it being too cold, and Galveston's not known for, snow and ice or anything like that. Yeah. So it's,
yeah,
pretty much a beach community and good weather all year.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And well, with us here in Minnesota, if anything, if we're diehard tennis people, would wait until it got up to about 30, 35 and wait for the snow to start melting, and then we'd take the snowblowers, clear that court off, and then get out there and hit that ball. No, not really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's what I feel like sometimes. Yeah, well, God, that snow. I'm gonna get that snow blower and clear that court. Yeah, sometimes that's the way I feel about it. But there's a few nicer and per capita here in Minnesota, they're per capita, we got more indoor courts than anybody in the U.S. Here in Minnesota, and everything. I've been here since '88 myself, so I came from actually a warmer climate myself, which I came from Tulsa, Oklahoma, within my tennis career, and that's where, like you said, with the older guys that took you under their wing, what were the best bunch of guys that you could have ever grown up with, that became lifelong friends up until they started, passing away or whatever. But still so sad that when those kind of guys have became your lifelong friends, just, amazing in itself, to be able to have people like that in your life.
Yes. No, it's those were good guys back. You should mention that you talked to Ken McAllister. He was one of them. Now, I did not. He wasn't from my local area, but we used to play against him a lot, and he was great friends with the guy that I did play with. That kind of taught me how to play doubles. We'd go out and play doubles tournaments and things like that. I remember playing a couple of exhibitions on the gym floor with Ken McAllister.
Oh gosh!
One of the high schools up the mainland a little bit, and where he was. And so, yeah, Ken was one of those guys that would always give back to all the young guys.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's what I've kind of, because myself, I've been playing tennis for like over 50 years myself. But it kind of comes to fruition, and what makes you feel so good of your tennis knowledge is the way that things come in front of you, that you can show somebody how to hit the ball better and have enjoyment out of the game. And it really came to fruition with me about a month ago. I came across a couple of young kids that were out at the court, and they were hitting the ball, and they were just like using the wrong grip. And it was like, oh my gosh, oh, come on. I had to go up and I started, oh, please, can I give you a little suggestion, please? And they said, yeah. And so I showed them, I said, I showed them, and I told them, hey, come down on the racket more. Come down and hold that racket more down at the butt of the racket. The racket's going to start doing the work for you. And then what I did before his friend came up, I started hitting with him lightly from the service line to the net. And he was consistent enough to get it back over. And then I started hitting the short game with him just to say, hey, you two. And then I showed his friend that, and then, how to hit the short game too. And he was consistent enough to get it back. And then what I was doing is I was telling them, I said, you guys can start out with the short game and just make a game out of it from each service box, then go cross court on each service box and make a game out of it to 10. But it's going to keep you guys consistent with hitting the ball over the net, not hard, but just get consistent with it. And then they started doing that. And then like a few weeks later, I was out there at the court again, and then the one kid walked by. Hey, you're the guy that he said, we get out there all the time, and we hit for about 45 minutes on that short game that you showed us, and we're getting really consistent. And I'm going, and it'll be even more consistent now that you can move back, and now you're going to be able to regulate how you hit the ball to get it over the net, to make it back and forth better. And he goes, you're right, it's been happening. And I said, well, I'm glad I was able to help you. And it was, and that just like, it's so fulfilling to be able to hear that from what I did. And to say that with what my tennis playing has showed me.
Yeah. And us coaches, I think really it's not as much the teaching of the game. It's just when they come back and the use of the game to teach them life. And their remembrances of everything because of the life lessons they learned. I think that's crucial.
Oh, it is. It definitely is. And with that, I mean, and I also encourage with anybody to out there on the YouTube, like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel. And then also later here, I'm going to be showing a racket of the week. out of my mini racket collection that I have, and kind of the history of that. And then you YouTubers, take a look at it. You will see it. And then you podcasters, if you want to take a look at it, you podcasters, like, subscribe, and comment. If you want to take a look at the racket that I'll show, you can take a look at it in my Tennis Volley Talk on my YouTube channel. So yeah, with that too, as you went through high school and got on the team and were playing with the guys and everything, eventually, then what college did you end up going to anyway?
I went to West Texas State,
okay,
which is now West Texas A&M.
Okay,
Changed the name. It's in Canyon, Texas, and it's up in the Panhandle, just south of Amarillo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I went a long way away from home to go to school. But I only had two coaches in my career. One of them was Vince Siglitz from Galveston, and I never saw him play.
Oh my
gosh! He was out there. He was a great motivator, and taught you that. Really not by doing, but just by showing you how. And then David Kent was the coach at West Texas State, and was again a different type of motivator, but still a motivator. And he's a very well known tennis guy in Texas also. In fact, both of those guys are. So that was where I went to school and spent my 4 years and ended up A&M with David Kent also.
Oh, okay. And then was he kind of like near retirement, and then you kind of stepped in as the coach then, or something, or how did that come about?
Actually, when I graduated from college in 1978, and that was his last year at West Texas, and then he took a job down at Texas A&M. Okay. And so he was down at A&M, and then I went out and I coached high school for about 7 years, and then he told me that they were looking for a high school coach with his son was playing on a team in Bryan, Texas, and they were looking for a coach, and so I came down to Bryan High for about 4 years before moving over to A&M. I helped him with his tennis camps, and we spent a lot of time out there. Obviously spent a lot of time together because we knew each other so well. But that was while he was coaching at A&M and on the men's team. In fact, he was over both the men and the women. And then that summer, I got a job as the women's coach because Coach Kent wanted to step down and not be over both programs. And so I was actually the first full-time women's coach at A&M.
Oh, that must have been just amazing.
In 1985.
Oh, that must have been amazing in itself to start something like that, and to take those young girls to start showing them the game of tennis, and everything. Yeah. And of course they came in.
They actually had a team. They actually had the team before. It was just they were coached by Coach Ken, and then he would hire somebody to take the women around because coaching the men at a big school like that's going to be a full-time job. So it's like he was over both, but I was the first full-time. So they had a team before. It's just that was the first one. And coming from high school, I was telling you before we started here that just doesn't happen nowadays.
No.
You'll have to be an assistant. You have to work your way up. And all that. But I came literally from high school, knew nothing about recruiting. Everything that I learned how to do, I learned from Coach Ken. In fact, I remember my first day. He gave me a little bit of advice, and I tell people today it's so true. It's just that recruiting is like shaving. If you don't do it every day, you're gonna look like a bum. And so that was one of his advice for me right from the start. So that was
that must have been something.
Good advice there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And nowadays, you take some of the women in tennis nowadays, as far as the girls that grew up or grow up now, there's a choice few of them that know how to serve a lot. In the pros nowadays, they're getting to where a lot of the women are just downright have a great serve now than what they used to.
Women hit the ball nowadays. Women hit the ball a lot harder than we ever used to hit it.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
And, part of that's the equipment, but they're a lot stronger. The game has just evolved so much. Being able to watch, still living in town where the college team is in watching them play. In fact, last year they won the national championship on the women's team, so I got a chance to go to Oklahoma State and witness that. And this year they lost to Georgia in the finals. I was there at the finals match just on last Sunday. So,
oh my gosh, you were, let's see, that was about Oklahoma State and Stillwater. That was about 3 years ago or so.
No, that was last year.
Oh, just last year. Oh my God.
Just last year.
Well,
yeah. And, they were supposed to be there, I want to say in 2020, and then they called off everything.
Yeah.
And so but it came back last year there, and I thought that's close enough for us to drive. So
absolutely.
I went over there, stayed, and we said, hey, we're going to stay until they finish.
Oh my God.
We got to watch it till the end.
Oh yeah. Well, I actually had the privilege because back when I had my job that I had, I worked the fair, and the University of Minnesota had the women's tennis team out there, and they were asking questions and taking answers and everything. And since I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I was going to be going to Oklahoma that previous June, or let's say May, June, July, something like that. And then August. Yeah, August it was. And then I was able to ask a question. I got a University of Minnesota tennis t-shirt. And then I asked them, they were going to be going to Texas, and then they were going to be going to Oklahoma. And I said, where? And they said, Stillwater. I went, really? What dates? And they said the dates that I was going to be there. And I went, well, gosh, I'm going to have to come find you. So like 4 or 5 months later, I go to my friend in Oklahoma. I take a day trip to Stillwater. And then that was in, I think 21 is when that happened. And then I got, and what a facility they have there, isn't it? Oh, what a beautiful facility.
Yeah, that's a beautiful facility.
Oh my gosh.
Courts open up right to the indoors.
Oh my gosh. And then plus being able to look down at the court from the bleachers and everything, it's just amazing. Right. And so I ended up finding the University of Minnesota team, and they remembered me. So that was kind of cool in itself. But I got there like at 10:30 in the morning, and I didn't leave until almost 7 at night from watching tennis. The women's regional college play tennis, it was just fantastic. It just is amazing to be able to watch some of those girls hit that ball like that. And but it was just fun and just absolutely a wonder and fun to be able to be a part in watching that. That I actually made it in 7, 8 hours and almost 9 hours. I watched tennis. Didn't bother me a bit. And one of the nicest days, one of the nicest days there, it was about 76 out, no wind and sun. No clouds or anything.
You said no wind in Oklahoma?
Yeah, no wind at all that day. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. And that doesn't happen very often.
No, that's not. That's a place that's known for its wind.
That's true. Throw the ball up, and it's going to be on the other side, other court next to you if you throw it up.
Oh, yes.
But no, that is just some amazing stuff like that, and then one of the highlights of last year, I ended up going to the U.S. Open Fan Appreciation Week too, and right off I got into Arthur Ashe on Stadium, and literally I walked in, and who do I see? I see Djokovic and Zverev practicing, right. And then after that I see Madison Keys and Katie Boulter. And then after that, I see Sabalenka. I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm watching her. And I'm like 5 rows from the side of the court watching her hit that ball. And just an amazing.
I've never been to they really started doing a lot of that last year. I've never been to that week before the qualifying or now that they've got the fan week. But
it is just
saying that's the best time to go.
Oh, it is, because they got all the outside courts that are being played on by and pros practicing on it and everything. I saw and I saw Beatrice Maya Haddad. I saw her, and and then plus a few others that I was able to see, plus the ones there. And then right after that, I got to go and Stefano Tsitsipas came out and was hitting the ball. It was like I couldn't believe how what power that guy has. And he has such skinny legs. And I'm going, how does he get such power?
Yeah, that's we were there. I was there for the first week. I want to say we got there about Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Of the first week, and we stayed for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
But, I've been a number of times to the U.S. Open. That's a neat deal. And then we used to actually go play a tournament there at that tennis center in September with the team when I was at A&M. And that was neat. The girls getting to play on Arthur Ashe.
Oh, yeah. So, what awe-inspiring way to play in Arthur Ashe in such a huge stadium and beautiful stadium and everything. But it was just amazing. And then plus, because I did an interview with a historian gal for Westside Tennis Club, I ended up going to Westside Tennis Club and saw the facility there at Forest Hills. Yeah. I even braved the subway of New York, and I made it back too.
I actually like going on the subway.
Oh, it was fantastic. I didn't have any trouble. People were nice, and I was, which way do I go? Well, you just go down there, go down those stairs. You're going to catch the boom, boom. There I was there. Yeah. And it was just an amazing experience.
Is he still at Westside? Luke Jensen?
Luke,
well, I think he might be the
telling me that, but I did get to see Bud Collins' library that his widow gave to the Westside Tennis Club. Right. And that was amazing to be able to look at that and to see that. And then plus I was able to see the grounds. I had lunch with her, and I got a hat, and then I got to see UTS Ultimate Tennis Showdown event. Yeah. And that was kind of a wonderful thing, because Westside Tennis Club, it was on them that day. So that was kind of my monetary thing behind the podcast there, of being able to do that. And but it was just a fun experience. Encourage anybody out there, any of you YouTubers out there that have not been to the US Open or Fan Appreciation Week, please give that a try. You get in free general admission. You can get into the courts that they're playing on. You got to take the barcode picture, and then it's a fan experience or whatever it is, and a lot of just different stuff going on. Encourage you to do that. Plus, like, subscribe, and comment. And then with the Racket of the Week coming up here pretty soon, you're going to see the racket. If you want to see the racket that I'll be talking about, then be sure and take a look at it on the YouTube channel for you podcasters out there. Like, subscribe, and comment then too with that. But amazing in itself to be able to have those and be able to be up close, because back in the day, back in the 80s, when I was in Tulsa, the Bank of Oklahoma tennis tournament actually came through there quite a bit. For 10 years, and Connors was the mainstay guy that was winning a lot of the years that he played, and then a few others in between. Brad Gilbert ended up winning one year, and then Pat Dupre ended up. I got to see Dick Stockton. I got to see Stan Smith, Bob Lutz, the Gullickson twins at the time, and got to see a lot of people in that little nice area of the Bank of Oklahoma tennis tournament. So that went through there, and I was have the opportunity to be up close and watching these guys hit the ball like that. It was just amazing in itself. I just had the opportunity through the years to be able to have that happen for me too, that way. And
nowadays, you go to these pro tournaments, you see all these college kids playing them now.
Yeah,
that's where they spend their time playing a lot of the pro tournaments.
Yeah, they do, and it's kind of trying to get the points to get on the tour, maybe, or whatever the case may be, that way. And then with that, also, you kind of went into then also kind of the director of the teaching coaches. How did that happen for you? Did you kind of have that?
When I left A&M, I went back. I decided I wasn't quite through with tennis, so I went back to my roots and started doing high school again. And obviously the level was completely different.
Oh gosh.
But it was it was still a rewarding situation. So during that time, I was back about 9 years after I left A&M. I was at A&M for 26 years.
Oh, wow.
That 9 years, I was doing high school 5 years at Willis, which is north of Houston. And during that time, I became president of the Texas Tennis Coaches Association, and that's an organization that is made up of all the school coaches in Texas. It could be it's mainly high school, but and mainly public schools. But we do represent private schools and also middle schools, and then. At the end of my presidency, they were looking for an executive director, so I took over that and replaced a guy by the name of Steve Buck and as executive director. And we have a convention each year in December, and it's this past year we had over 600 coaches at the convention that we put on, and it's done at Horseshoe Bay Resorts, a 5-star resort, and beautiful in the hill country outside of Austin.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a great time, and it's because it's in December, it's the teachers are ready to kind of get out of school. I don't know if you know, but Texas, I think, is one of the only states where the high school coaches have to be employees of the school.
Oh yeah.
You have to be an employee and full-time employee of the school and in order to coach. And so they've got a week or two before they have the Christmas holidays. They're ready for a break, and they come down and have a good time. It's great to get everybody together. And,
absolutely.
Talk and realize that the problems they're having are the same problems that all the other people are having. And, do the networking, and we have our sessions. We've had Wilson is a big sponsor of it, and Wilson Sporting Goods. They brought in different speakers to come in and help us out. Brad Gilbert came one time, and he did a fabulous job.
What a tennis knowledge that guy has.
Oh yeah. We've had Luke Jensen, who was a French Open doubles champion.
Yes.
Come down. We got Gigi Fernandez down.
Oh my gosh.
So Craig O'Shaughnessy, that's real big in the numbers game. I don't know if you realize it. He's got something called the brain game, and where he does a lot of numbers, and he travels around all the tournaments and does a lot of the stats for everybody.
Oh, sure.
So Craig has always come down and spoke at our convention. So we have good speakers, and so the coaches can learn, plus have a good time.
Oh, absolutely. And with some of those people that you get to talk to and hear, just amazing in itself. With that.
Right.
So.
Actually had Gil Reyes came in 1 year.
Oh my gosh, Agassiz.
To us about his stuff with Andre Agassi.
Yes.
That was a favorite one. That was a really good one.
Oh my gosh. Well, I teaching, and then John McEnroe, Patrick McEnroe, and Jimmy Connors, and. So the thing is, back in that day, I had found back from the Bank of Oklahoma a little badge that said media, right? So I just put a little tape over it, and I strapped my camera strap over it, saw media, and then I walked right down on the court. The old usher just looked at me, nodded, and I went and walked right down on the court with my T2000. And I'm taking pictures of McEnroe and Connors and Patrick and everybody just right there in the court. And lo and behold, that racket sitting next to me. And next thing I know, McEnroe comes over, puts his racket down, unzips the racket. So Patrick and John and David hit with my T2000 racket.
Oh, yes.
And if you look on the internet and look for a little known clip, and if you put it in McEnroe making fun of Connors drunk, then that clip will come up and they will show them hitting with the T2000 racket, and that was my racket that they were hitting with. So
that's funny.
It is just amazing what I've act. And of course, back then you could kind of get away with that. Now you have to have your blood type, your first grade teacher's name, your maiden name. And everything like that. But be able to do that, it was just amazing in itself too. And then I had the autograph. I also have, well, Connor's autograph on it, John and Patrick and David and Monica Sellis, Mary Jo. Last and leastly, I got Jim Courier, which I heard was not too awfully an autograph from him. And it was, I took the cover to an exhibition. He played Agassi, and Agassi was off being all screaming at him, and Courier was left alone. And I just reached over and, Mr. Courier, do you think you could sign this? And he took about 2 steps and then went, okay, turned around, came and signed my T2000 racket cover. So Courier's autograph too. So that was kind of an interesting thing of how I got that. But to be able to do that and have that opportunity, to take pictures. Of course, back then when you took pictures, it was the old 35 millimeter too, So I have thousands of pictures, hundreds of pictures of the pictures that I've taken of the tennis people that I've done over the years too. So whenever they had the World Team Tennis came through Tulsa, Oklahoma one time. So right after the Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs match too. So and just always just been able to step into that and be able to be at places that were up close and be able to do that, which has really been a good thing within being able to do tennis as long as I have.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of memories.
Oh gosh, yeah. Now one thing I'm kind of interested in for all that is for the tennis coaches and everything, but they also, if you want to become a tennis coach, or like if you wanted to get a job at a club or anything like that, knowledge that you have to go through tests to be able to become a coach.
Well, the USPTA and USPTR, now USPTA is the RSTA for Racket Sports Professional Association. But if you notice, now we do have some of our high school coaches that have that. We don't actually have a certification for high school coaches, mainly because it's not required to get the job. The jobs are all through the schools, and so it's a little different situation. So that's something I will say we have discussed, though.
Oh, sure.
I think it would be helpful for that. But they do have rules that they've got to take tests for and things like that. But it's the University Interscholastic League, UIL, in Texas that have to do that. But to be a pro, it's different. A teaching pro is different than the high school. You actually with them every day and after school and at the schools, and when you go on trips with them, it's day-long trips. And things like that. I just feel like you've got more of an influence of them when you're a high school coach.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, and with this, what I do is I do a racket of the week, and here's a racket of the week here, and what it is, it's a Dunlop racket, and probably from back in the probably late 50s. It has the old the little tiny strings at the top and bottom of the last string of the cross strings, which were actually
Max Ply?
Is
that the Dunlop Max Ply?
Well, not. It isn't. It's not a Max Ply, but that's one of their more popular rackets that they had that came into existence in 1931, which actually Rod Laver played with, but he kind of enhanced the head of it to make the head specification the way he wanted it too back then. Dunlop actually came into existence in 1910 as a racket sport. It was a British sport equipment company, is what it was, and then that's where it came into existence. And then, like I said, 1931 is where they came out and then debuted the Max Ply. This one here happens to be the endorsement by Marty Reeson, is who this autograph. And he, as far as in singles and doubles too, played in the late 40s, 50s, into the 60s. That Marty Reeson played. And, I mean, if with that, and it has his autograph on it, as far as, the multi, and then they made this racket for him, which was the Dunlop racket that they endorsed him with, and it has the D on the bottom, near the handle of it, right under his name, and of course then the D, the Dunlop logo with it looks like a little arrow with a D in the middle of it, and this is a very good racket, still really straight too. You could actually still probably, wouldn't want to hit it too hard, but you could still probably lightly hit with this racket too, if you wanted to. And everything. I actually have a buddy of mine that actually still hits with wood rackets, just to hit with wood rackets, and it's a Rosenal is what he hits with, and those are pretty good rackets back then. Those were expensive rackets back then, But this one has a great grip on it too. It's a nice big grip, and it fits the hand really good. And but yeah, this is and like I said, 1910 is whenever they came out with the manufacturing from British Sporting Equipment Company, and they came out mainly specifically for tennis, and then they had swimming and squash and paddle rackets and badminton rackets too, and then including the sporting good clothing that they came out with back in the day too. But prior to that is whenever Dunlop actually came out with their first tennis ball that made by Dunlop, which was in 1923, is when they made their first tennis ball for Dunlop. So, kind of the white has white lettering, says Dunlop on it, and then with Marty Reeson's picture right there on it, and then his autograph, Marty Reeson, and heck of a player, tall guy, and heck of a player back in the day, that he played and made several singles and doubles tournaments in the pros back in the day. So with that, it's kind of a nice thing that I do with Racket of the Week, and that's where I take it out of my collection that I have of my rackets that I have. So kind of makes it kind of nice to be able to have and give a little bit of history of that too, with that. So maybe you learned a little something with that. But yeah, Max Ply came into existence and debuted in 1931.
Yeah. Well, the Max Ply was first racket that I had.
Oh, good.
That's
Okay.
the first one that I played with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
want to say my parents thought I was crazy. I wanted to spend $13 on a racket.
Oh, I know. Holy neck, $25 on a racket. What the? Are you kidding me? And back then, to string a racket was like $8 or something like that. Now it was, right. That's way too high to string a racket. Yeah. Oh yes. And those days are gone. Oh gosh, yeah. And then with that, I started out with the old Tad Davis rackets, and I started out with the Imperial, and then, but I always ended up, I went through two of them. I had to send it back to Davis because I ended up, because the throat of it was so thin, and because I hit the ball hard, it vibrated enough so much that eventually I ended up, when I hit an overhead, I was holding the hand, broke the racket head. So I went through two rackets. I had to send it back to them, and they sent me two new rackets because of it every time I send it to them. So but then, that's kind of what I started out with, is the Imperial Deluxe and Imperial, and the Imperial rackets were really kind of nice back then too, because those were kind of an upper echelon, like the Rosenal racket too. Oh yeah. And everything. So just amazing in itself to be able to do something like that. And like I said, you YouTubers, you saw the racket, you podcasters, like, subscribe, and comment if you want to take a look at the racket I showed. Just go to my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and you YouTubers out there, just to like, subscribe, and comment, and stuff like that. So just a fun thing to be, to still have that passion for tennis like we do, and everything. So, but with that, hey, I do appreciate you so much and coming on and giving some of your knowledge in tennis that you have. and then giving the way you were brought up and how it happened with me, very similar. So we talk.
Yeah, I enjoy spending this time with you.
Yeah, and then if you happen to know anybody that can shoot me some names, I'd be love to call them and have interviews with them too. So
okay, I'll do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much, Bobby. You have a great day out there, and keep on hitting that ball.
Will do. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And that was it with Bobby Kleinecke. Great interview. It was so fun to do. And anyway, I'm still working with some other things that I might be able to get or do. So everybody out there, just keep on hitting that ball. It's getting nicer out all the time. So everybody get out there, keep hitting that ball, and I will then talk to you next week. And everybody have a great day and a great week.